Good morning, students. Welcome to our biology class for week 3. This morning we are going to be looking at adaptations. Our last class we spoke on habitat, and we said that habitat are environments where living things live. And we spoke about terrestrial habitat and aquatic habitat. And we say terrestrial habitat are habitat found on land. Aquatic habitat are those that involve with water bodies, and so on and so forth. I want to believe that you have gone through the note over and over again, look at the examples and so on. And I want to also believe that you understood the lecture. Okay, this morning we are going to be looking at adaptations. Okay, now when we talk about adaptations, we are still going to give an we are still going to pick some knowledge from habitats too. Now, when, for instance, you live in Abuja, okay, and Abuja is, Abuja is has a sunny weather, and you get to the south, like Bayelsa, where it rains almost every day. They have a different weather. Now, the weather in Abuja and the weather in Bayelsa, are they the same thing? Good, they are not the same thing. So when you travel to Bayelsa now, you find out that for a period of time, you might even fall sick. I don't know if you have seen such, if you have experienced some stuffs like that. You might even fall sick. Why? Because of the different environment, changing environment and changing weather too. Now, your body will try to adjust to the new environment because you are not used to that environment. Okay, like when I take you to the desert now to stay for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you will find it difficult. Or in the forest, you find it difficult. Your body system has to adjust to that environment in order to make you to survive there. Now, that adjustment in the body system, in order to help you to survive in a particular environment, is what we call adaptation. So, let's look at our specific objective. At the end of this lesson, I should be able to define adaptation, state the 3 types of adaptation, and give examples. Explain the 3 types of adaptation. Okay, now look at the meaning of adaptation. Adaptation is the process by which organisms adjust to new environments or to changes in their current environment. This is what I explained. I said when you travel to a new environment, to a new state, a new locality, like you leave Nigeria, now you get to Saudi Arabia or wherever, where the weather is so cold or so hot, and you are not used to that temperature. So that every environment has its own temperature. So you are not used to the temperature of that weather or that environment. In short, you will fall sick. Now, when you fall sick, your body is undergoing a metabolism, okay, a transformation, a change, in order to adjust to the new environment you found yourself. So that adjustment or that change or adjustment to the new environment or to the changes in the current environment is what we call adaptation. So if you are asked what is adaptation, you say that adaptation simply means the adjustment of an organism to a new environment or changes in its current environment. Okay, that is what adaptation. Okay, is, for instance, now, we all know that fish lives in what? In water. Now, when you take out fish from water and keep it on land, is it going to find it easy? Is it going to find it easy just as it's in water? No. It's going to find it difficult to do what? To sustain on land. The body will try to adjust to the new, because the temperature on land and that of the water is not the same. And it might not even survive it. Okay? So adaptation most times is always very difficult. In short, in the process of trying to adapt, the organism might even die. It's just that, we human beings have a higher tendency, okay, higher ability to adapt than lower animals. Okay? So adaptation simply means the process by which organisms adapt to a new environment or to changes in their current environment. I want to believe that you've understood this. Now, types of adaptation. Types of adaptation. There are three major types of adaptation. Look at it: structural, physiological, and behavioral. What did I say? Structural, physiological, and what? Behavioral adaptation. Don't forget it. Three major for your level. Now let's look at them one by one. Structural adaptation. Now, these are the physical features. These are the what? Physical features on an organism that helps it survive in its habitat. What did I say? These are the what? Physical features on an organism that helps it survive in its habitat. Now, when we say structural adaptation, we are talking about features or characters that could be seen with the physical eyes. Features or characters of an organism that can be seen with the physical eyes that helps him to survive in its habitat. Now, for instance, the fins of a fish, it helps it to do what? To swim. Gills of the fish help him to do what? To breathe. For gaseous exchange. Now, the teeth of a normal human being, it helps us to crack, to eat, to bite, and so on. Streamline bodies of a fish too. Streamline bodies help the fish to swim. Stems. Of course, stems of a tree. Okay? Leaves. Scales. Leaves helps to tap up light. Leaves helps to do what? To tap light. And so on. Tap light from what? From the sun. For photosynthesis. Scales of the fish also help the fish to do what? To swim. Feathers of the bird also help the bird to do what? To fly. The feathers. Feet of a human being helps us in walking, in running. Claws. If you look at a chicken or so, you will see it nails, the nails of a bird. That's what we call claws. Then beaks. Now, if you look at the bird on the slide, you can see its mouth. This long mouth is what we call beaks. It helps it in eating. It helps it in even fighting for protection. It uses the beaks in protection, for security and so on. Tails. Fish tail helps the tail to helps the fish in swimming, and so on. So what are we saying? These are physical features, the ones we can see with our eyes, that helps the organism to survive in its habitat. So you can see, because of all these things that a fish possesses, fins, gills, streamlined bodies, scales, tails, these are what helps fish in the water to be able to sustain and live in the water. Because you don't have all these things, you cannot sustain in the water. Okay? Leaves of the tree help it to tap light from sun to help it in photosynthesis to make their food. Feathers of a bird helps it in flying. You don't have feathers, so you cannot fly. Have you seen why birds can fly? So these are things that help these organisms to survive in their own habitat. Now, what helps you to survive in your own habitat? Something like your feet helps you in walking on the land. Your teeth helps you in biting. Your skin helps you. It's not here, but we have a lot. Your skin helps you in feeling, having sensation. Your eyes help you in seeing, and so on. All right. So structural adaptation, these are physical features. When we say physical features, we are talking about features that we can see that helps an organism to survive in its habitat. And we give examples of physical features that we can see. Now, physiological adaptation. You must listen to this one very, very well. Physiological adaptation. Now, hear me. These are internal responses or changes in the body that helps an organism maintain balance. Wow. Say wow. Say wow. Don't look at me. Say wow. When we were talking about structural adaptation, we said there are features that could be seen with the naked eyes that helps an organism to do what? To survive in its habitat. Now, physiological, you can see that there are internal changes. So it means that we cannot see the changes. They are internal in the body. Internal changes or responses that helps an organism maintain balance. Now, I said, for instance, you are in Nigeria and you travel to, to Saudi Arabia or maybe to any country that is very cold, very, very cold, very, very cold, or very, very hot, very, very hot. The weather condition there is totally different from ours. Do you understand? Now, when you get to that new environment, now, the change in environment will cause changes in your body. Okay? Now, because number one, the environment there is not the same environment here. The weather there is not the same weather there. Maybe rain falls there too much, or maybe the sun there is too high, and so on. And you are not used to the condition there. Okay? You will see that it will affect your metabolism. It will affect your system. Peradventure, maybe the food you even eat there is not the kind of food we eat here. Okay? So, in short, virtually the living condition there is totally different from here. So you will see that sometimes when you travel to a particular place and you stay for a while, you find out that you fall sick. I made this example in the start of this lecture. Sometimes you might even fall sick. Do you understand? Now, you might fall sick maybe 2 days, 3 days. That period you fall sick, there are a lot of changes. The system in your body, the internal system is trying to adjust to fit to the new environment. So the system is trying to adjust internally. You see some changes inside your system. It's trying to adjust to fit to the new environment. That's why we say these are internal. You cannot see them. It's not like the structural adaptation. These are internal responses or changes in the body that helps an organism to maintain balance. Because when you change an environment, you will not more be stable. You will not more be balanced. Okay? You won't be stable anymore. Sometimes you find out that it's either you are coughing. Sometimes you find out that it's either you are urinating. In short, your body system will not be stable, will not be balanced. Why? Because of the change in environment. So, physiological adaptation are internal responses or changes in the body that helps an organism maintain what? Balance. Example, physiological adaptation allows uptake of water and avoid dehydration in sunny or dry environment because of high temperature. Okay, take for instance you stay in a rainy, maybe in one of these south states. I said Bayelsa before, or Port Harcourt, where you know that rain falls heavily. They always have excess rain compared to sun. And now you are now asked to go to where? To Kano State, where you know that it is very hot there. Very what? Hot in that place. You find out that when you go to Kano State, you will always be dehydrated. What do I mean by dehydrated? You will always lose water in your system. You will always feel thirsty every time. You will always be losing water in your system. Why? Because the sun and the heat there will be drying up every liquid in you. Okay? You will always feel dried every point, every time. Now, the function of the physiological adaptation, it allows uptake of water. It allows it, maybe for instance, if when you were in Bayelsa or Port Harcourt, the level or the availability or the limit of water you can take in your system maybe is 4 liters. It's 4 liters. When you get to the north where there's heavy sun, your system adjusts in a way that it might extend or expand the limit of liters your body can take. Maybe from 4 liters, it can expand to 6 liters. These are part of the internal changes. You are not seeing it. It just adjusts himself to maybe 6 liters because that state is always what? Is always dried and sunny. So your body system adjusts to a point that maybe you can take more uptake of what you can take more water to your system. Maybe it can allow for 6 liters or 5 or so on, compared to when you were in a rainy environment. So it could allow uptake of water and avoid dehydration. Now, it will avoid loss of water in your system when you are in sunny or dry environment because of the high temperature there. So what am I saying? I'm saying that physiological adaptation are internal responses or changes in the environment that helps an organism maintain balance. Okay, it helps an organism maintain balance. And I said example that maybe, for instance, you get to a very high sunny or dry environment. Physiological adaptation will allow uptake of water and avoid dehydration. Okay, all right. Behavioral adaptation. Behavioral adaptation. Now, any action a plant or animal takes to survive in an environment is called behavioral adaptation. Any action any action a plant or animal takes to survive in an environment is called what? Behavioral what? Adaptation. Now, we are trying to say from the name behavioral, we are saying it's a behavior, right? Now, these are behaviors. These are behaviors or action. Okay? These are behaviors or action a plant or animal takes to survive in an environment. These are behaviors or action a plant or animal takes to survive in an environment. For instance, migration, instinct, defense from predators. You see, migration is a behavior. There are some organisms or animals. What does it mean? What does it mean to migrate? Migration is a movement from one place to another. Also, human beings does that too. Take for instance, I said that maybe you are in a sunny environment and you feel that this weather is too harsh for you. You cannot cope in this kind of a weather. You migrate to a state or to an environment that is fair enough for you. So that is an example of behavioral adaptation. Migration, movement to another point. Okay. Now, instinct. Instinct is like a natural occurrence of sensation. Okay? Natural. This is a very natural behavior of sensation. Sometimes you see, you can just be seated and all of a sudden your mind just tells you, leave this particular place, go and sit under the tree. Or your mind just tell you, just enter the room. You know, these are natural occurrence of what? Sensation. Okay? You just move. Okay? You just move. Now, these are things animals also do. Peradventure, an animal that have the ability to carry out instinct, maybe when he or she just leave that particular place, there could be a predator that will come. Predators are animals that do what? That suppress other smaller animals. That suppress or oppress them. Other smaller animals. Okay? So a lion is a predator and so on. Now, you can see that when a smaller animal carry out maybe sudden movement through his instinct, after maybe 2 or 3 minutes, a predator can arrive at that very particular point. We also have defense from predators. There are some behaviors that a particular animal possesses that helps him or her to carry out defense from predators. Okay, that helps him or her do what? Carry out defense from what? From predators. For instance, we talked about structural adaptation, feathers in birds. Now, when you come to behavioral adaptation, birds can fly. That is a behavior. Peradventure, when a bird sees a predator coming, an enemy coming, it will just do what? Fly. That is a behavior. Okay? To just fly. Dog barks. You can see the slide. This dog is barking. This is a way of both instinct and both defense. Sometimes you can just see a dog will just come out from, maybe it was sleeping under a car. Next minute it just comes out and start barking. Not that he saw a thief or he saw an enemy. It's his instinct. It's a natural occurrence of sensation. He just sense. He just sense the environment and he start barking. But he didn't see any enemy or so. So those are instincts. Things you just do out of natural occurrence. Now, he can also bark out of defense. Maybe he or she has heard. Okay, we are talking about a dog now. Maybe it has heard maybe they are knocking on the gate. Boom, 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 boom. Or he has seen a shadow. So he does not know who is coming forth. So it feels that the only way to scare the person is by barking. So these are defense from predators. And I also say migration. Both animals, both human being does that. When you see that maybe a particular environment is not stable for you, you now move to another environment. That is migration. Okay, so we're going to stop here for today. We'll continue tomorrow. We talked about adaptation, and we said that adaptation is the ability where organisms adjust to new environment or changes in their environment. We talk about types: structural, physiological, behavioral. Structural, we say physical features that an organism possesses that helps it survive in its environment. We gave example: physiological, internal changes that helps an organism maintain balance, and behavioral are behaviors or actions an organism carry out that helps the organism survive in its environment. And we gave examples.